health is real. Seek help. End the stigma. On the news this evening, expert says flood victims in Orashi at risk of chemical exposure. Flood sacks communities in Onelga, River State. Gunmen kidnap Imo Catholic priest. On the foreign scene, U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris yet to concede defeat. I am Kalada Kurubatubor. We'll go for a quick commercial. When we do come back, the news in detail. A professor of community medicine and environmental health, Best Odinoha, says flood victims in the Orashi region could be exposed to water chemical diseases, including mercury and radioactive materials. Professor Best, who is also the director of the School of Public Health, University of Port Harcourt, said this while speaking on the health risk associated with flooding. He told correspondent Martha Okere that water chemical diseases may arise as a result of oil exploration and spillages that go on in the Orashi region. He said the quality of water will be affected by the flooding.
The quality of drinking water will be affected. Apart from that, too, there will also be water chemical diseases, especially in the Orashi region and with oil exploration and exploitation. The waste, including the drilling waste, and of course all the spillages will all be washed out by the flood water, contaminating water supply, so which means that there are possibilities of what we call the water chemical diseases, including exposure to mercury, exposure to even naturally occurring radioactive materials. So they probably cause diarrhea immediately, but in future they can increase the risk of cancers.
Professor Odinoha spoke on other health risks associated with flooding, including respiratory diseases as a result of overcrowding in internally displaced persons camps for flood victims.
There are also diseases like leptospirosis. That one has to do with contact with rat urine, and leptospirosis is a fairly serious disease. Then we, of course, snake bites, because you know that the snakes, they are probably driven out of their usual habitat, and the contact with the human population will be increased because everybody will be looking for high grounds, dry land, and of course even skin diseases because of the contact with the flood water, which is seriously contaminated, especially in the Niger Delta region.
Professor Odinoha also spoke on the mental health risk caused by flooding.
Homelessness has its own health effects. They don't have peace of mind. They are anxious, they are agitated, they are irritable. They will go into the fight mode. And in the fight mode, the blood pressure will increase, and that results in a stroke and other things if the person is hypertensive. And then some social problems. And in a crowded situation like that, there may be conflicts.
The professor of community medicine and environmental health urged the River State government to provide flood victims with quality water and free medical services, especially in internally displaced persons camps.
The water supply is contaminated, so they have to provide them with better quality water, probably with water treatment facility attached to the water supply. Then not only to concentrate on physical health, a lot of them are rugged enough not to manifest physical health, but the mental health aspect and of course the conflict resolution aspect, insecurity and all those things has to be provided. And of course medical care should be provided in the IDP camps to ensure that people are given prompt medical treatment.
In the meantime, floods have sacked communities in Ogba, Egbema, Indoni, local government area of River State, destroying large farmlands and causing hardship to farmers and families. It was gathered that the communities like Idu, Ugbidi, Ikuzi, and Amok were hard hit by the floods. Some of the victims said the floods occurred close to the harvest season, sparking concerns of possible escalation of food scarcity among residents. One of the displaced persons, Chinyere Amadi, said she managed to flee a submerged Idu Obosioku community with her children. She said the water came so fast and is concerned about the health of her children. In Auda West local government area, the chief press secretary, Esedi Joe, says the flood situation in the area should not be considered as should now be considered as a national emergency. Mr. Esedi told correspondent Onyeka Chiwosu that the level of flood is risen beyond expectations. He said the people of Auda urgently need food, health, and other relief materials.
Probably very, very high. Normal canoes can't even go through because they're using a speedboat to cross that area. The request from the state and the federal government comes to our aid in a haste. That's true. But to what we can do, we're ensuring that no life is lost. We're ensuring that, in fact, we had an incident in Ward 4 where a woman was to give birth and she was in the IDP camp, and so I had to send medical aid immediately to ensure she has a safe delivery and she was evacuated to a very safe place, she and her baby. And so the situation is not coming down any soon as we see it. Water is still rising and we're calling out for help, as much help as we can get, already becoming a national emergency.
Reacting to this, the South-South Zonal Coordinator, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Adebiyi Tunde, says the first batch of relief materials will get to flood victims in Outer West local government area tomorrow.
Done a rapid on-the-spot assessment. I'm talking now. NEMA is bringing in items to this area. We are bringing in relief items. So by tomorrow in the morning, actions are ongoing. Right now, as I'm speaking with you, some of the things are ready, and the logistics to move them are what we are working on. And by the grace of God, I know by morning hours it will be ready, it will be set for us to move in, in collaboration with the State Emergency Management Agency and then the subcommittee in the state.
Mr. Tunde also revealed plans to provide potable water for those in the IDP camps. Moving on, the chairman of Ikoyi local government area, Israel Abossi, has urged the police not to be used as a tool to destabilize local government administration. Mr. Bossi, who was speaking on Nigeria Info Morning Crossfire today, was reacting to the continuous barricade of the police at the Secretariat following the violence that trailed the October the 5th local government elections in the area. He said there has been no form of violence and the area was peaceful before the reported invasion of the council by the police on Monday. He wondered why the police are taking on the role of a political party. We will go for another commercial, but still to come, President Tinubu postpones FEC meeting. Do stay tuned. Come back now to the rest of the newscasts. Gunmen have kidnapped a parish priest in Mawala Zubike in the Obolo community, Isiala Mbanu local government area of Imo State. The Catholic priest of St. Teresa's Catholic Parish was abducted in the Ajayi community within Obolo as he was returning to his parish from an assignment on Tuesday night. The Catholic Diocese of Okigwe, in a statement, requested prayers for the priest's safe return. The state police spokesperson Henry Okoye says measures have been taken to rescue the priest and apprehend the suspects. In other news, an energy expert, Emmanuel Nwogu, has linked the frequent collapse of Nigeria's national grid to outdated and overloaded equipment. Mr. Nwogu, in an interview with correspondent Emeka Otuka, expressed concern that electricity distribution companies are failing to upgrade and maintain essential infrastructure despite a growing population of consumers. He warned that Nigerians should expect further grid collapses if urgent action is not taken to address these issues.
As a matter of fact, it's as a result of moribund and outdated equipment. Most of these equipment are generation and transmission use. Some of them are over 60 years. And what do you think of an equipment that is used over 60 years? And come to think about it, 60 years back, how many persons were using electricity? That is, I'm now looking at the load. Before independence, people that were using electricity were not over 100,000 if you want to look at the whole federation. But come to think about today, how many persons are using electricity in your street where you live? Those equipment need to be upgraded, looking at the population.
Mr. Nwogu also criticized the post-succession planning within distribution companies, noting that staff are often laid off without adequate replacements.
The succession plan they use have not been okay because actually before you retire person, you must have trained somebody that will oversee what he was doing. But most times these days they just plug people out and recruit new boys. The succession plan could also be a problem. Personnel, they are just after cash collection. They've not done anything reasonably well to look at the infrastructure that they are using to transmit power or to collect the money.
Away from that, the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting has been postponed to another date following the death of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja. President Bola Tinubu gave the order said a new date for the FEC meeting will be announced. The reason for the postponement was made known in a statement signed by President Tinubu's spokesperson Bayo Onanuga. He said the meeting, which was initially scheduled for today, was postponed in honor of the late Chief of Army Staff who died on Tuesday night. The president also ordered flags to be flown at half-mast nationwide for 7 days in honor of the departed general. Let's take a look at the international scene now.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris has lost her bid to become America's first woman leader as her Republican rival Donald Trump surged to a decisive victory in the U.S. presidential election. The U.S. president is yet to, or rather, the U.S. vice president is yet to speak or concede. The U.S. Republican candidate Donald Trump was elected U.S. president, making a remarkable comeback 4 years after he was voted out of the White House. President Bola Tinubu and other world leaders have congratulated Mr. Trump. President Tinubu in a statement said he is looking forward to strengthening ties between Nigeria and the United States. A quick recap. On the news this evening, you heard an expert says flood victims in Orashi may be at risk of chemical exposure. Flood has sacked some communities in Onelga, River State. Gunmen have kidnapped a Catholic priest in Imo State. And on the foreign scene, U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris yet to concede defeat. The news was edited by Martha Okera. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I am Kalada Kurubatubo. Good evening.